What's up, everybody? If you saw me on Instagram the last few days, I was spending it in San Diego with my family, getting out of the cold and the snow here in Salt Lake, just taking a quick little family trip. Normally, when I pack for these trips, it's one bag for clothes and one bag for photography gear. Being that it was only going to be like a 2.5 day trip, I opted for one bag. And because I was only taking one bag, I decided to only take one camera and one lens.
Do I take my M11P? It's super small, super compact, but it only takes photos. Or do I take my Leica SL2S? It's not as high res, but it can shoot photo and video, and I can put this amazing zoom lens on it.
And I gotta be honest, I was pretty surprised that the majority said, hey, go with the M11P. In this video, I really just wanted to share with you the photos that I took and some of the lessons I learned along the way. In my What's in My Bag video, I talked about when you bring a ton of camera gear, that's a lot of stuff to keep track of. And I don't know about you, but the more I have to keep track of, the more I stress. But also just packing stress, right? Like you're constantly like, I gotta put this in, the stress before the flight. I don't like flying, it's already stressful enough. So if I gotta be stressed packing for the flight and then be stressed on the flight and then unpacking and then keeping track of it, it's just a ton of stress. When you show up with just this combo around your neck and there's literally nothing else to pack, the amount of stress you have is basically none. And I don't know about you, but I tend to take better photos if I'm not stressed out of my brain. If you've been shooting photos long enough, you can agree that there's a point while you're shooting in a day where things just start to fall into place and you can kind of see compositions better. And like in sports, we call it the zone. It's like where you just get locked in and you can't miss. If you're playing basketball, you just like can't miss a shot. There's a zone for photography. I will start, like if I go out to shoot for a day, I'd say probably the first like hour or two is me trying to get into the zone. They're all just kind of crap photos and you're shooting and eventually you start to see it. And like, I don't know anybody that goes out and their first photo is just like a banger. Unless you're in the most incredible location, like you gotta work through those practice shots to get in the zone. Well, when you're shooting with just one lens and you don't have all that versatility, for me, I found myself getting into the zone much faster and staying in the zone longer because you just tend to see everything through this lens. That 50mm focal length, I had locked in Top Gun, Maverick, like I was locked in, if that makes sense. I think I have a much rougher go of it if I have a 24, a 35, a 50, a 75, and a 90 as an option. Now, I think I would still get good photos, but I think the amount of good photos I would get would be less because it would just be tougher to get in and stay in the zone with a zoom lens. That's just me. The third pro from taking this combo as opposed to that combo is I can comfortably wear this on me all day. And what that means is it's on me all day. So anytime a spur of the moment photo opportunity happened, I could take it. And there were plenty of them given the fact that I was just doing random crap with my family. Earlier, I mentioned that I much prefer to shoot photos than video. That is true. However, my brain tends to work in scenes out of a movie. Like I see things like scenes in a movie. However, this one photo, I thought, this is a great photo, and it's a great photo after I edit it. I know I'm gonna shoot it and it's gonna look okay, but once I get done with this edit, that's when it's really gonna pop. And here's that photo. Had I been thinking in terms of video, I don't know if I would have taken the shot, and I don't know if I would have edited it the same way. If I had the SL2S with that massive camera, that massive lens on me at dinner or when we were going out to like the donut shop, maybe that just draws too much attention to myself. At no point did I ever get that feeling wearing this. And I'm not saying you have to have the M11P with a 50mm. I'm just saying if you got a small compact camera, maybe fixed focal length, like an X100V, nobody's gonna care about it, which means you can take more candid shots and people are gonna like be a lot more loose and authentic than the closed up. I think when you just bring out a camera of that size, people are like, what's going on? And it just changes their behavior just a little bit. I noticed that I never got that reaction with this. I just mentioned the M11P, and you definitely don't have to have this, but there are some really cool things specifically about this camera that I wanted to cover. Number one, I love the rangefinder experience. I'll be honest. I had the SL3, which is, like that camera, a traditional mirrorless EVF. However, I kept having issues with it, and I went through 3 of them. And at the end of it, Leica was kind enough, and they were like, listen, if you want to return that camera, we'll essentially trade you an M11P. And for the first month, shooting off a rangefinder was not only very difficult, I didn't really enjoy it. But the more I used it, the more it grew on me. And as I've told other people, the way I describe it is it's like a tick, and it's buried its way into my brain. And it's now just my absolute favorite way to shoot. If you've never shot on a rangefinder, oh man, these are kind of dirty. Don't worry about it. You've got these 2 little things, right? You're looking through this one, but there's also a patch, which means there's a little rectangle, a very tiny rectangle, and you've essentially got 2 images. And as you focus the lens, which is connected to the rangefinder mechanism, those images cross over. And when they merge, that's when it's in focus. Just the more I've used this, the more I enjoy it. And the pace of this trip, this family trip, was just perfect for the rangefinder experience. If I was shooting sports or something else, this is probably not the camera I would go to if it was a high demand, high pressure situation, like I'm getting paid and people need those photos. This is probably not going to be my primary camera for that. But for a family outing, this was amazing, and I loved every second of it. This little battery lasted, off a full 100% charge, lasted the entire 2.5 days. I didn't have to recharge it. I only have one. Now, it has USB-C charging, so no problem there. But yeah, one full battery lasted the entire day. I have a power save, setting on here where just after a minute of no use, it just powers off. And so I just left the camera on, it would power off, but it lasted me the entire 2.5 days. Battery life is incredible in this camera. The other unique thing about the M11 is that you get 3 different megapixel settings that you could choose from. 18, 36, I think is the middle one, and 60 megapixels. So you can get as crazy high resolution as you want, or if you're just pulling stuff off for social media, then you can put it at the lowest one. And I pretty much keep it at the middle one all the time, because most of the photos that I'm taking off and I'm sharing on social media just means there's less data to pull. The speed at which this thing downloads photos to the app is incredible. I also have the SL2S, I have the Q2 Ghost, I had a Q2 Monochrome, I had an SL2. Those take significantly longer to download photos from the camera to the app. This thing is so much faster, and thus it's one of the reasons why I enjoy using it. And finally, this camera has basically dual card slots. Even though it is just one, you can see the card right here, it only holds one card. It's also got 256 gigs of internal storage, twice as much as I have on this SD card. And you can determine in the camera how you want those files to be stored. Do you want RAWs going to both? Do you want JPEGs going to both? Do you want RAW going to the internal storage and a JPEG going to the SD? So I love just knowing that you've got a backup just in case you forget this. So I really like that. Specific to the M11, P is 256, the M11 only has 64, and the Leica M11 monochrome also has 256. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Now, I've talked this whole video about one camera and one lens, but what if, just what if, you can't do the one lens thing? What if you added another lens to this package? Well, I've got a few recommendations for you. If you are going to be rocking the 50 as your main lens, the lens I would pair that is this. This is the 28mm. This is an f1.5. All of these lenses are from Voigtlander. I love them. They pack incredible value. for the amount you spend. A 28 and a 50 if you like shooting on the wider end of that spectrum, and this was your main lens. 28 and 50 is an awesome combo. If you like shooting a little tighter, then I would recommend this. I've got the 35mm f1.2. This is the version 3, I believe. Also from Voigtlander, amazing lens, and I would pair that with the 75 1.5. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick video on the M11P, this 50mm f2 APO by Voigtlander, and the photos I took with it. I hope you enjoyed the photos. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do. Hit the like button. Consider subscribing. It's free. You can kind of cancel it anytime. I don't have to send you any weird emails or anything like that. If you have any questions about the camera, the lenses, anything, any of the photos, let me know down in the comments. I will see you on the next one. Peace.